Okay, 7.1, we were talking about percents and fractions. Percent. So in our daily lives, where do you guys hear about percent? In what context do you use the concept percent?
Like on the stores, like 50% off.
50% off. Yeah, there you go. Anybody else?
On like the news, 50% chance of rain.
50% chance of rain. Yeah.
50% chance of rain.
What does that mean? 50% chance of rain.
There's 50-50 rain days.
So there's a half a chance it's gonna rain, the other half it might not rain, or we don't really know, right? In other words, there's a 50% chance, okay? Half and half. Anybody else?
Like taxes? Like,
huh?
Like taxes? Maybe like
Taxes, right? Taxes, okay? So if I buy something, not in Oregon, but in like California, you have to pay sales tax, right? You have to pay a certain percentage of what you bought. You have to add that amount, right? So if you go to the 7-Eleven and say, oh, I want a Coke, and I go look at the thing and it says, Coke is $1.99. Well, when I go to pay, I actually pay more than the $1.99, right? I have to pay the taxes on top of that, right? A certain percentage. Okay, that's a good one. Okay. Anybody watch the NCAA games this weekend? Anybody watch any basketball? No basketball? No basketball fans here? So somebody, let's say somebody's going to go to the free throw line. He fouled. Like when he's trying to make a shot, he got fouled. He goes to the line and the announcer says, well, you know, Joe has a 85% free throw rate, right? Or 80% free throw rate, or you guys heard this term before, correct? Right? Okay. Yeah?
I thought they usually say it's like a ratio though.
Like what?
Like he's 80-12 or something.
Yeah, he's 8 out of 12. Yeah, so that's a good point. So you can say, they're going to say, right? So if you look at the statistics columns, there's always the, right? Free throw attempted versus free throw made, right? Okay. So let's say I made 8 out of 12. Okay. Well, that's good. Well, that's what she's shooting right now as it is for this game. But there's a accumulated huge history of all the free throws that he's shot before, right? He's an 80% free throw shooter or a 90% free throw shooter or something like that, right? In that context, we use percents, right? Okay, it's just like quarterbacks in the NFL. What are they measured by? What do you measure? What statistics do you measure them by? Nobody knows? We don't have any football fans here. Okay, that's fine. It's quarterback rating. Have you ever heard of the QBR, or quarterback rating system? Part of that is what percent of his passes, what's his completion rate, right? He has thrown about up till now, I don't know, 157 passes, and out of the 157% pass, about 157 passes that he's thrown, like 110 were completion, which is somewhat of a passer's responsibility, but it also falls onto the receivers too, right? If you have a bad receiver, no matter how well you throw the ball, if he keeps on dropping it, it's still good for you, right? Okay, so these are some of the things that we use in the percents. Okay, so let's say that you walk into the store and you go to the Woodburn and you are trying to buy a pair of jeans. Okay. How much does a pair of jeans cost normally for you guys? $10?
$6 at Walmart. Yeah.
$6 at Walmart. Grace?
Like 25.
Like 25. Okay, that's more realistic. I was thinking worth $25. You usually go to Costco. They're like $15.
Costco's like $12.
So let's say it's $20. Okay, so normally your jeans cost $20. Okay, so I go there and I look at there's a sale going on that says all jeans are 60% off. What does that mean? Okay, first of all, 60% off means off of 100%, right? So you're actually paying what percent? 40%, right? So you're gonna actually pay 40% of the $20. Anybody tell me how much that is? 12 would not be correct.
12 will be 40%.
60?
No, would be lower.
Oh, I was in.
Okay, so if it was half, let's say it was a half off, it would be 50% off, right?
$8.
Yes,
Yeah.
$8.
I was doing 40%.
Okay, so $8. How did you get to the $8?
Because 50% off from 20 is 10.
Yes, okay, good. And then,
From there, I just had 60, just minus 2.
okay, all right, okay, good, that's good. What would be 10% of this? $2, right? So $40 is, 40% off is 50% off and then another 10% off, right? So if you take the $50 or 50 cents, 50% it would be 10. You're taking another 10% off. So if you take another $2 off, it's $8, right? An easier way to do this is 40% is basically the same as 40 out of 100, correct? Right? 40 out of 100. Okay, it's the same thing, right? So I can go ahead and say, well, this is the same as 4 out of 10. So 20 times 40% is going to look like 80 over 10, which is $8, correct? Okay. So let's say I go to, so I have this option of paying $8 on this jean, right? Or let's say I went to a different store and their jeans were $30, but they were running a 70% off deal, which means that you're going to pay how much? Since it's 70% off of 100, you're going to actually pay 30%, right? So what is 30% of $30? Nope.
13.
Nope. A number. Again, so we're going to have the $30 times 30%, which is 30 over 100. Right? So if I multiply these together, well, I get 900 over 100, which is 9. So actually, even though this is 70% off, since it started higher, it is more than 60% off of $20. Does that make sense? Okay. So yes, percents come up very often in your everyday life, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and see if we can run example number 1. Example number 1, write 29% and 45% as fractions in simplest form. So 29%, just as we did before, is the same as 29 over 100. That's the fraction form of a percent, right? It's anything, whatever percent it is, divided by 100. Okay? Can I simplify this any further? No. Okay. So we're done. That's it. That's the answer. 45% is, again, 45 over 100. Can I simplify this?
Yes.
How? They're both divisible by 5, correct? What's the top one if I divide it by 5? If I divide 45 by 5? 9. 9 times 5 is 45. Divide this by 5, I get 20, right? So I cannot go any further. Okay. Is there no such thing as a 200%? There can be, right? I can say that I had a company that I bought, and when I bought it, it was worth $1 million, and then 5 years later, it is now 200% worth of 200%, right? So if it was 200%, it would be what? Exactly, 20% is would be the 200 over 100, so it's a double. Right? So if it was worth $1 million, and it's now worth 200% of that, and it's basically now worth $2 million, right? Which means I did pretty darn well. Right? If I grew a company twice the size in 5 years, that's pretty good growth from span. Okay, just kind of throwing those out so that you can kind of think about those later on. Okay, let's continue on with example number 1. Example number 1, write 7/10 and 3/5 as percent. 7/10, 3/5. So I want to be these in what form? To get the percent, I need the bottom to be what?
100.
100. This needs to be 100. Okay, so I have to find the same fraction that has a bottom of 100. So I want to get from here to here, I have to multiply this by 10. So I have to take the 7, multiply that by 10 also to get the same fraction. So it's 70%. 7 over 10 is the same as 70%. Okay, over here, again, I want the bottom to be 100. So to go from here to here, I had to multiply by 20. I had to multiply this guy by 20 to get to 100. So if I multiply this guy by 20, I'm going to get 60. So your answer would be 60%. So this is the same as 70%. This is the same as 60%. Okay. Step number 1, let's move over. Top of page 346. This is somewhat important. Okay. If you have a good grasp of that table, that means that you should do fairly well on percents or converting percents to fractions and back and forth and that type of stuff. Okay. 10% is 1 out of 10, 20% is 1 out of 5. So 1 out of 5 is the same as 2 out of 10, correct? 2 out of 10 is the same as 1 out of 5. 25% is 1 quarter, right? This kind of makes sense. That's why it's called a quarter, right? It's a quarter, right? 30% is 3 out of 10. 40% is 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10, which is the same as 2 out of 5. And then you have the 1/2 is 50%, which is the same as 5 over 10, which is 1/2. 60%, then you have 70, 75, 80, 90. So if you go by 20%, if I go by 20%, the first one is 1/5 is 20%, 2/5 is 40%, this is 60%, this is 80%, right? So you're adding 20% as you go, right? Because this is 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%. Look at the quarters, right? Quarters, you get 25%. If I add another quarter, I get this. If I add another quarter, it is this. So this would be 50%. This would be 75%. This is actually the same as 1/2, correct? Okay. And the rest also fall in line also. Okay. Example number 2. Let's see if we can do example number 2. Example number 2. A radio station randomly selects 1 out of 5 finalists for a prize. You are one of the finalists. What is the probability that you will win? You're going to win what? You're going to win 1 out of every 5 times. All right, so 1 out of 5 times. So you just need to transfer this into a percent. Or if you look at the little table that we did already, right? 1/5, you already know this is going to be what percent? It's 20%, right? So let's see if we can do this. So this would be, needs to be 100. So you need to go from here to here. I multiplied it by 20. So if I multiply 1 by 20, I get 20. 20%. Okay, pretty simple. Example number 3. A desert tortoise can go a year or more without drinking water. When it does drink, its body weight can increase by 40%. Suppose a desert tortoise weighs 15 pounds after a long period without water. How many pounds can the tortoise gain when it drinks? So it's going to gain what? It's going to gain 40%. It's up to 40%, right? So it's going to gain 40% of 15 pounds, right? So you're going to start with 15 pounds and then you're going to gain 40%, right? So you have to multiply 15 by 40%, which is 40 over 100. Right? If I do this, I get 10 on the bottom. On the top, I get 4 times 15, which is 60. So I'm going to get 6. So I'm going to gain 6 pounds, right? If they ask you how much it's going to gain, right? If they ask you what is going to be the final weight, what would it be? You would have to add the amount that you gained to what you started with, the 15, correct? And that would be 21. So you have to pay close attention to what they're actually asking you. Okay. The question was, the answer was 6 pounds, all right? Okay. So we're done for the day, or we're done for this portion of the day. Your homework is 8 through 45. 8 through 45. 45. Let's go ahead and start working on those.